Gonna proc it now. Gonna proc it now by Jackson Aurelia. Jackson Aurelia. Gonna proc it now. Gonna proc it now. Proc it Jackson Aurelia. T-Force.
Welcome to the rework of the T-Force. Now we going hard cause we bumping at the beat source. It's a 3-course dinner of dudes bringing the news and stats, interviews and casts from the pro scene. So fresh and so clean, like you're laning with Nami in the bot lane. Keep it hot like brand, practicing his dot game. Give it to you easy like you're Resi in a bot game. Imagine Draven at prime time. Now ulti like LeBlanc can copy that 4 times, but manlier. Knock it up like Malphite planning a family-er. You gotta be tuned in like Sona on the ad wall. Get on the chat call. Can a podcast really be all that? Of course. How do 4 guys make a track force?
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am your host for this wonderful episode number 235. Peaches is here with me.
Hi, I'm Sean, and I'm eating peaches.
Punch
Sorry,
is here too.
Hey everybody.
Yeah, sorry Lancefer, you get to that right there. Crunch. God damn it.
Edit out all those peaches.
Hey, you know what? They finally started selling peaches again at the grocery. It's high time that my chewing got back onto the audio.
Yeah,
Peaches takes priority over the podcast. That's what I hear.
Damn right.
Well, as you guys can see, DeClawd is still not with us, and neither is Daze. Daze is dealing with the New England weather, because if you guys didn't see the news, will you quit? The Peaches. This entire podcast, Peaches. If you guys didn't see the news, the Midwest is being pounded by snow right now, and it just gets worse the farther out east you go. So they're expecting like 10 inches. Kentucky is expecting 10 inches over tonight. We've already received.
Wait.
Like
it's supposed to snow more?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is bullshit.
We're supposed to receive 12 to 17 inches by Friday.
All right.
Fantastic.
Sounds great.
How will we survive the White Death?
Stay inside and play League.
Right. I got sent home early. I might not even go to work
I'm
tomorrow.
so
We
jealous.
won't know. Yeah, well. And then DeClawd, he has to take care of family things, so he will be back here Wednesday 100% with lots of puns. Actually, another shout out to Seafoam on YouTube. He even emailed us to talk about some of the stuff. He's the guy who, if you watch the YouTube videos, after like a day or two, will give us the timestamps because he listens and write down timestamps of what we talk about. And at the very end of the last show, he's like, "Yeah, Chira and Pone more than made up for DeClawd's absence with the number of puns that they both had."
Great
I don't
job.
remember
Oh, that was the TF
any
puns.
of them.
The stacked deck and all that crap.
It was the TF puns. All right.
Into the Zyra pun with the Thor to the side, and yeah. This is why we pat ourselves on the back, because we're mini DeClawds. It is.
We did it. We did it for you, baby.
We can never be as good as DeClawd. So we're going to jump right into some quick podcast news, and then we're going to try to figure out some shit to talk about tonight. First and foremost, I want to talk about donations, because if you guys haven't noticed, we have been battling server costs. With your donations over the last few weeks, we have been able to extend the server costs for a number of months, which is good. Obviously, I hate to say it like this, but it's never enough. We could have it for 2 years, and I'd rather have it for 10. So if you would like to donate and continue to help us with server costs and help us with getting, the new website up and going, which we hope to have like a soft launch by March, but I'm not making any promises. It's coming, that type of thing. If you'd like to help with any of the back end stuff, you can donate. Go to donate.trinityforcepodcast.com. There's a little, not a form there yet. There's just the way to take you to the donate button. We're going to be setting up a form, so like when you click it, like a frozen mallet appear on the screen. If you only give us $5, it'll go I see that your heart is cold as frozen mallet.
I like that.
Good one, Adam. I appreciate it.
I came up with that one. No, yeah, I did actually. I said your heart is as cold as the frozen mallet. Thank you for your donation. That type of thing. And then if you donate $100, pop you up here on the screen and do a little dance for you. No, I don't know. But yeah, we're going to be setting up some actual form. We just have to look into, because we want to make sure your money is secure. We don't want to just like set up a random form and then your money's being unencryptedly sent across the internet to be grabbed by some foreign.
Yeah, because that isn't sketchy at all.
Yeah, right. So we're looking into the PayPal API to get that set up. But in the meantime, donate to trinityforcepodcast.com. You go check that out. And I'm going to run down through the donations that have come in. First and foremost, Cody sent in $5 with no comments, so thank you very much, Cody. Night Falling sent in $20 with a note that says, "Thank you for all the great content you produce. You continue to make me laugh and a better player."
Oh,
we're doing our jobs then.
That's right.
Exactly.
Joshua
do both of those things.
Joshua with no comment sent in $35. So thank you very much, Joshua.
Thank you, Josh.
Awesome.
And then we had one giant donation come in, which the person who sent the donation asked to be renamed, be nameless. So, reference $300 came into us. Thanks for the LCS rundown and Trinity Force proper. Because of them, I've never been more into League of Legends.
Greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we can't
That's
say
awesome.
enough what that means.
So if you'd like to donate, just know that, if you donate, we'll try to take care of you. Obviously, you'll get a shout out on the podcast. We'll try to get a hold of you if we can. We we always do fan games. We'll definitely, I hate to say it, but we'll give you preferential treatment if you donate, and you let us know, because we'll get you in a couple fan games one night and let us play with us. We've been doing fan games like every single night the past.
We've been
2
playing
weeks.
a ton, and we have the Teamspeak now. You want to throw that out there?
Yes.
That's where I was going with it. If you guys want to join Teamspeak, ts.trinityforcepodcast.com. That is the server. Everybody sits in there. If you were sitting in Spork's Teamspeak, thank you very much, Spork, for hosting that over the past year. But we have moved off it, and he's moving everybody off his Teamspeak over to the Trinity Force podcast one, because it's no longer costs him any money, basically. But
yeah, hang out in the TeamSpeak and join the in-game chat channel T-Force to keep an eye out for those fan games nightly.
Good point, Punch. Yeah, so it's ts.trinityforcepodcast.com. That's like Tom Sally, ts.trinityforcepodcast.com. That is the server you type in. There's no password. There's no extra port. That's all it is. Join us in TeamSpeak. If it fills up, because it's only 32 slots right now, and it's actually getting really close to being filled up, and I only announced it on Reddit, we will be bumping it up to 128 here shortly, thanks to your guys' donations and everything. So that's pretty much all the news that I have. If you guys haven't noticed, we've been talking a lot about what feedback and replays and stuff we can give you. And I'm going to put you on the spot here, Punch, because I just thought about it. We had a listener write in, and he said, his name is Adam. He wrote in and he said, "Hey, I play AD carry. Can you take a look at the review?" And I would like for you to talk about for a moment what it means to have somebody look at a review, and what you saw by watching the review, how you believe that would help the player, and why other players should either review their own reviews or write to us and have us help them out with them. I know I'm setting you on the spot here, so
when I'm gonna go in general about what I do when I watch a review, and I think Days pretty much just the same thing due to what I've seen for what she did recently for us, where she watched a game that we played and made timestamp notes. So that's basically what I do. Is if you send me a review and you want feedback on your play, I'll watch the entire game, and throughout the game I'll make notes and include timestamps at when certain things occur, like you needed to be more aggressive at this point in time, or you need more vision at this point in time, you're too far forward, your position's bad here, stuff like that. So I did that for this listener, and in addition, I actually also recorded some replays for him and sent him 3 of my games that I played over the weekend. I did the same thing. I sent him some notes about what I was doing and what my thought process was behind those various points in time. So the benefit to this is, and we touched on this, I think, last episode a little bit, for AD carry specifically, some things are very hard to notice when you're in a game, things that you're doing. For AD carry, this would be positioning. It's hard to judge how your positioning is sometimes during the heat of a team fight, right? Sometimes it's obvious, because you'll get called out and you'll die immediately. But sometimes it's hard to tell. If you're trying to dodge 3 people at once, and you're just trying to focus on staying alive, and you're not really focusing on what else is going on across the map, then you might miss something. So replays are a very good way to get a third-party perspective, which will help you, which will help point out things that you did not notice during the game. That's basically the crux of it.
Yeah, I like how you went through that and just kind of talked about the things that you wouldn't notice normally. I'm going over a replay right now, and that's I'm going over a replay of top lane, and I actually got the pleasure of watching the player play without me being in the top lane against them, and then I got to play against the player, and I'm just gonna say his name because he's here. Calvin is his name, and I played him against him last night. I played he played Renekton into my Rumble. And one thing he said to me is, "Thank you for beating my ass in lane, because you made me realize that I can't try to trade with you without being punished for it," basically, because higher level players are going to punish you for your mistakes. And every time I would wait for his cooldowns to go on cooldown as Rumble, or as his Renekton. As soon as Slice and Dice is on cooldown, I just walked at him. That's all I did. I just walked in with Flame Spitter and in my W active, because you can't trade with me back because everything is on cooldown. So those are little things that you'll learn by, if you have a replay out there, the Trinity Force podcast guys here don't have to be the only ones that are watching replays. Go watch them yourself and kind of look and go, okay, so I slice and dice into this person. I used all my cooldowns, and now he attacked me, and I lost more life. Why was that? And you should be able to answer because everything I did is on cooldown and not doing enough damage. So I need to figure out a better way to trade.
I like that you brought up the 1v1 thing because another benefit of the replays is that there's so much going on during the game. It's really hard to keep track of everything, like your positioning, your last hitting, your harassing the enemy team, and watching out for the jungler, and keeping an eye on where the rest of your teammates are at, and the timers on objectives, all that crap. So when you're watching from a replay, you're detached from the game. You don't need to worry about all that stuff at once. You can kind of focus in on various points in time. And that's similar in a 1v1 scenario, where if you're just battling at the top lane, you only have to focus on the person that you're playing against. And that kind of isolates the issue for you, so you can see how he's reacting to what you're doing. You don't need to worry about warding or where the jungler is. You do need to incorporate that into your play in order to be a better player. But if you're just focusing on your laning phase right now, then I think 1v1 is a very good strategy.
And I would say with these, I'm going to keep, like, this entire night, I'm going to call it the night of in-houses because I really want you guys to realize how awesome playing these in-houses are. Yeah, some guys, I won't say they troll. Nobody ever actually, like, legitly trolls. They might just play stuff that they're not used to. I think I played jungle. I think Punch, you may have played jungle a couple times in some of the in-houses.
And Nemesis Draft, I played jungle.
But even then, you were forced to play two things out of your comfort role. And we don't play a lot of Nemesis Draft or Ultimate Bravery. That's just kind of like everyone gets drunk at the end of the night after playing a bunch and playing. But when you're in there, if you go in these in-houses and you message somebody independently, I'm sure any of these guys would be happy to just kind of get mental notes to tell you at the end of the night. Like, if you're bronze playing against a silver guy or a gold guy, and Spork, for example, who's pretty much in all of them, if you said, Spork, I want to play your Victor, do not ban it, make sure no one bans it, we'll to make sure it happens. Like, everything here is to cater for you guys, and that's what's going with the community that the Trinity Force has to offer. So,
and if you have to lane against one of us too, just shoot us a message or something beforehand, just saying, like, pay attention to what I do in lane, and just afterwards just remind me of what mistakes I'm making. I've had plenty of people be like, how could I have improved in certain situations? And honestly, like, for some of them, you did great, but your team fell behind, and you're not playing a champion that could necessarily pull you guys from the grips of defeat, and that happens too. You can't win every game, but
right.
If you want some constructive feedback and you get to lane against us or anything like that, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, again, if you guys want to do it, we have feedback at trinityforcepodcast.com. Send us a replay. You can ask for any one of us to take a look at it, from Pwn to Punch to Chira to Daze. Dom will even take a look at him, I'm sure, if he has the moment of time. Wrecker is always out there, and he's willing to help because he's, like my best friend in real life, so I'll just slap his face around and tell him to help me.
I was about to say, Wrecker's really open about doing it.
Yes, very much so. And he does jungle and support. So we really do have everybody. So yeah, that's, I don't want to harp on that too much, but that's a replays and why I want you guys to take a look at that. Moving forward here, the last podcast we talked about was patch 5.3. I would like just to take a moment to kind of just look at every single champion, and I'm going to do this kind of, I don't know, like an ESPN style is something where I go, all right, Fiddlesticks, was there a change? No, moving on to the next one. What the hell? I can't think of the name of the show.
We're going to go through... I have no idea, actually.
Yeah, I was looking at Punch. I'm not going to go through all of them because obviously, but the bigger ones, like Ahri, Azir, Diana, Gnar, there's some bigger changes in here that came in the patch. And I kind of want to recap what we may have seen changed, if our predictions came true, and what for you guys to look out for now that we've had a week to really plan the patch. And starting out with Ahri, have you guys? I'm sure you played against an Ahri. Still, the biggest pain in the ass, right?
Yeah, I've seen her still banned a lot. She still has a 51% win rate. It's not quite, at least a plat and above. It's not the 60% win rate it was, a week and a half ago, but over 50% still pretty good.
Yeah, over 50%. 50% is great. That's what you shoot for. Anything higher than that, there's a problem with the champion.
Yeah, the addition of the movement speed just... I don't know. I think she's just got a lot of strength outside of damage right now that's hard to address unless you were to go back on some of the buffs they gave her.
That mobility creep that people talk about, suddenly they just give more mobility to a champion.
I mean, it just makes her that much stronger in lane to be able to dodge skill shots and to harass you more.
Right. Which, you know, it's funny bringing up mid lane is I was talking to Chira earlier was that now that Chalice and Ziggs have been nerfed, Xerath has become a comeback as the go-to.
Is he the go-to poke now?
He is the go-to poke. Mind you, I say that, and Nidalee still has a really solid win rate in middle as well.
She's got a winning percentage in three different roles: jungle, top, and mid.
Top 5 champion in jungle, top, and mid. Like top 5 win rate in 3 places. It's disgusting. Like that champion is a jack of all trades right now.
Yeah.
By the way, Bao Bao suggests that we, or he requests that we not ban Nidalee anymore.
Yeah, that's never ever going to happen.
I'll stop banning Nidalee when you pick her, like when you stop picking her every time she's not banned.
Right.
It's a wrap.
Because she's that damn good.
Well, I'm also terrified.
It's funny. Whatever. Silently, this is 100% silently. I don't think I ever publicly said this, but I was always wondering why people just randomly stopped playing Nidalee because I never felt like she really fell out of favor. It was as soon as the patch notes said Nidalee can do this now, can jungle now, people went, "Oh right, I can play her mid and top too."
Well, that's the thing. Like they didn't really change that much else other than they made her.
They didn't change anything.
They made their jungling a little easier on her.
Way easier.
But even still. Just that difference wouldn't have changed how strong she was in top or mid for the most part. I mean, she's still a monster. And they went from making it to, oh, we kind of want her to be played as AD-ish bruiser, Blade of the Root King, whatever. And then as soon as that got popular, like, hell no, slap it down, put her back to AP, whatever.
I think that was I think that was the reason for the hesitancy is she kind of switched back and forth throughout the course of the season. She's like, okay, she's really good at AP. No, not anymore. We don't want her to be a pokey AP bitch anymore. We want her to be AD, tank, bruiser. Everyone's like, okay, we'll play that. Oh no, you know what? That's too strong. Let's nerf that a bit and make her more AP focused. And I think everyone was hesitant about going back to AP because they're like, oh, AP got nerfed.
AP got nerfed. It's harder to land spears because the spears are more narrow, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now you don't have as large of a hitbox and you can't, or you're not just half-healthing people if you land a spear. You're taking away a third of their health.
Well, and then you can
still a
shitload of remainder.
Right. You can jump to them and then just assassinate them.
Right.
Great.
I was surprised they didn't. Well, I was kind of surprised and kind of not that they didn't touch Nidalee in the patch. I think that her strength kind of came towards the end of the PvE cycle. So they didn't really get a chance to put in some changes, but I anticipate something.
Well, and like they said in the patch notes that there wasn't any, power change yet. They haven't swapped anything around to change her power levels whatsoever, but that doesn't mean that they won't. So if she still continues to see a lot of bans, then when she's not banned, she's still performing extremely well in 3 of lanes, including jungle.
Hey, during my promos, I met a very toxic Nidalee. Who?
Did you mute him?
Yeah, I muted her. But
good job.
She wasn't the total reason we lost the game, but she was part of it in the fact that she won her lane, but then she expected people to cover her lane opponent while she roamed the map and did other things. And she kept saying after 15 minutes, I'm gonna, she was according to her, she was diamond something. I went and looked up on Low King. I think that count was diamond 3. So obviously a good player, and she won her lane every time. But and this might just this really goes to a SoloQueue discussion. So she won a lane every time, but then she expected her team to do something that was against the grain of normal SoloQueue, and that was lane swap. She pretty much expected she expected bottom lane to leave bottom lane alone, go top and deal with the guy who's down and let her just roam and get kills elsewhere. And I understood the logic a bit because she had so much power, but at the same time, why aren't you just keeping your top laner down and continually split pushing and taking the jungler and the top laner away from the team fights?
That is a little bit of a complicated strategy for SoloQueue. I mean, I can obviously be done in a ranked 5 scenario, but it's a little too much to ask. Then again, I'm not against trying it.
Yeah,
I would suggest it in a game if I really wanted to give that a shot. Like, hey, I'd probably try to talk about it earlier. Like, hey, at 50 minutes, I want to try and do this, but you need to change your strategy if your team's not up for it. And that sounds like where he went wrong. Is I really want to do this strategy, so do what I say. And the bot lane didn't do what he said.
Well, the bot and to his credit, the bot lane did lose. Whether losing is 3 kills or 1 kill, they lost the lane, and so they weren't strong enough to 2v2 the enemy bottom lane. But at the same time, like you said, it's one of those strategies. If you go into SoloQueue and you have a rank 5 strategies in mind, or even LCS strategy, it's not going to work, because it's more likely not going to work because you don't have any control over the rest of the players. You can't talk to them in real time.
Well, again, I'm not against trying it. It's just that you need to be flexible.
You have to have the other people on board to try it as well.
Because there's no guarantee that they're going to follow what you say. So if they don't want to do it, then you gotta swallow that and then go back to your lane.
Even in that same vein, say that Nidalee smashed the hell out of top, took the turret, and then wanted to go roam or have bottom lane to solo and farm or whatever and send her bottom lane top. Let's say that she did take out that turret, and then you send 2 people top that are already behind, and next thing you know, you have the enemy mid, jungle, and top laner smashing 2 people rather than 1. That not always the best situation if your bottom lane's not solid as it is anyway, because if they get into a bad situation, you're giving them 2 kills. And that's an easy way for... Yeah, it's an easy way for the lane that you worked to stomp to come back. It's the same issue with, you beat the hell out of your lane and now you're going to go roam the entire time or do stuff around the map. But let's just, I'm going to use Jax for an example. But that Jax that you crushed during the first 9 levels in lane has been sitting up there for the past 10 minutes free farming because you haven't been there to deal with him. He's going to come back with a vengeance because a champion like that can do it. There's so many situations where just because you get a huge advantage, if you can't get your teammates to react to the playstyle that you want to react to, sometimes you're just going to have to kind of deal with it and switch the way you want to play up a bit. Right.
And I think the reason it's worth trying these advanced strategies, like suggested them and then seeing how they go, is because it's a semblance of organization. If you can get your team organized against what is most likely an unorganized team in SoloQueue, you're probably going to win.
Oh, it can mentally break teams as well.
That's a huge upside. But again, your team's not going to be organized. It's not going to be organized every time in SoloQueue. So if your strategy is too complex, it's probably not going to...
There is definitely a balance to be held there between too complex of a strategy and a strategy that's variable for SoloQueue, because... How many times have you played SoloQueue where I can't say how many times, but we've definitely punched, and I have played a SoloQueue game where the enemy team will not group and push together. And that could have been changed because you, the person who is playing the game, could have said, I need to rally the troops. Let me start typing to them very politely and get them together to push because our strength is in this. Singe is split pushing top. Why are the 4 of us not just barreling down mid? Why are we taking time to... I think too many people get caught up with, I need that little extra CS. I need that dragon, or not the dragon. I need those jungle creeps. I'm
doing great solo, and because of that, I'll just continue to do great solo. One of my biggest gripes is being in a game. Everybody seems to be doing well, and you're ahead early, and then people try to do their own one-man army thing. A couple people die like 2 or 3 times, and then somebody's like, "Oh, we should group now," and by that time it's already too late because the enemy teams come back a significant amount, and you're just sitting there. If it's any
consolation, this happens all the way up into plat and diamond.
Yeah,
seriously,
I want to just put my face in my hand and just be really depressed because it's one of those things. Sometimes you can beg for people to group and they just don't want to do it because they want to play that way. And in that sort of situation, then it becomes the whole battle of trying to talk everybody else into the team and just following that one person that wants to do their own thing around, because sometimes that's the only way to get everybody grouped.
There was a game that I played in SoloQueue where there was a Draven who was just rocking face, and he would not group with us no matter what. He was a split push Draven. He was killing people, and he would... I think one time he got ganked by too many people because he was too far forward and died. And we were saying, Draven, you should really join with us in middle lane so we can actually win the game because we're so fed. And he said, no, you guys come to me. So that's what we did. The rest of us just joined on Draven, and we pushed through bot lane, and we won the game.
I've absolutely done that 100%, where like we had a Corki that just wouldn't do anything or whatever, and I was like, all right, well, fuck it, I'm going to you, and it just worked out. So sometimes you have to compromise.
Yep, that's what you got to do.
And I love trying to put some humor into a situation like that to kind of diffuse if somebody's starting to get a little mad. Like I was playing support in a game the other day, and we won bot lane really, really hard, and I was roaming around trying to make stuff happen elsewhere, but people were just going way too ham in certain lanes, and it was one of those situations where you feel like every time you show up to a fight, because they go too ham too early, and it's just like, wow, I really need to just go with the guy who's like fed to keep him snowballing. And I love just being like, all right, we'll use Draven again for examples. Like, all right, Draven, I'm your bitch for the rest of the game. Be attached to the hip with you and just do nothing but track around whoever is going to be able to lead your team to victory.
You know what? Well said. I think that ends it because we were talking about Nidalee and we walked into how to help with your SoloQueue partner because of my Nidalee.
We started on Ahri. Keep in mind, we started on Ahri. We went through Nidalee.
Hey, we filtered off Ahri.
All right, well, let's talk about Azir because that was in the patch too. Azir, humorously enough, is now at a 41.23% win rate according to LOL King. I would go to OPGG, but it is down at the moment for this podcast. He is at a 36.91% pick rate or ban rate because of that, and he's at a 3.76% pick rate. So a decent pick rate. If you think about Jinx, is at a 32%. To give you an example of the popularity of champions, and Graves is at a 31% pick rate, so let's not top two. So his pick rate has significantly dropped, his ban rate has started to significantly drop, and his win rate has plummeted. All because of the change that we saw in patch.
Wait, what'd you say his win rate is?
41%. All
right, I'm looking at champion.gg and it's saying a plat above. He has a 37% win rate.
I'm not on plat above. I'm at overall.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Basically, short way to put it, Azir's not doing real well.
You know what it was? It's a combination of obviously Conquering Sands doing less damage early and into late
reduction,
but the range reduction, the range reduction and the ability power per level that you gain, the amount of damage that the Rise soldiers were doing, and the range they had, it was such a significant nerf to him. Azir was somebody who could bully out melees, but there was still counterplay with the melees even with that range, and now there's no counterplay at all because you can't even hit them when they jump on you. It was before where there was a little bit of extra room in between where his soldiers could hit, where Azir could stand, and now there's more room basically.
Well,
so they just dive you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Depending on where you place the soldiers, you could hit them between the time it took them to run at you and then when they were on you.
Yes, and now you can't hit them when they're on you.
You can easily get around them.
Right, and that's obviously he wasn't always playing in top lane. Right, that's my experience. But in mid lane, being able to poke out a ranged champion so they couldn't even CS with your soldiers was a problem. And now you can hardly poke out the ranged CS, and when you do, you don't do that much damage. So they can, like Ahri, can easily avoid you with her Q. All of this on top of each other, all giant compounded. Azir is now just in the shitter.
Yeah, he's not having a good time.
What was it? What was the joke I heard? That Azir was only good because he had so many bugs that it made him good.
The bugs made him better?
Well, right, because he was so consistent / inconsistent that all the bugs made him actually really good.
Nobody knew what to expect?
Yeah, because nobody knew what to expect.
Yeah, well, and the other situation could be because he had so many bug problems or what have you, his stats were kind of upped a bit to compensate till they fixed everything, and then once they kind of had everything taken care of on the bug front and he was still solid, I mean, even though they've been fixing bugs left and right for the past 4 patches, the
quote was that Spork had said it the other day. Who said it? He says that the Azir was only balanced because of all the bugs, and then once they fixed all the bugs, he was suddenly OP.
That is a good point, because I was wondering why Riot was so heavy-handed in these nerfs, because they're usually so tentative about them. They'll tweak little things. Remember how long they were tweaking Lucian? They're like, we're going to take a little bit of power here, and the next patch, a little bit more power, he's still OP, and the next patch. Like, over a course of patches, they keep tweaking things by little bits, but Azir, they just kind of dumped all these nerfs on him. And I guess, it's a good point. Maybe it was because of the bugs.
I'm letting you guys know from this point forward, I'm going to make a tinfoil hat. I'm going to leave it right here next to my PC, and I'm going to put it on anytime we have one of these conversations, just to be like, tinfoil hat Riot didn't actually want to see Azir in competitive play, so they nerfed him so hard he could never be playing competitive again. And then I'll take my tinfoil hat off, and I'll stick it back on the mannequin's head, and we'll continue on with the conversation.
That sounds genius.
It's going to happen. I'm going to make a tinfoil hat. I'm going to do it every time we have one of these conversations.
We should really make one for everybody, and just as soon as we get to that point, not a word is said, but everybody just grabs their hat and
everybody looks at each other and just goes,
yeah. Everything is really awkward as we get all goofy for about 3 minutes.
Excuse me. Diana, I don't think we've seen much of Diana, have we? Though we did say that it was a buff to her.
It's a buff. I haven't really had a chance to play her.
I've not seen her very much. I get to play her once.
Her win rate, again, plat or above, is at 52.2%, so that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
No, that's not. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I did get to jungle her once, and it was the first time I ever jungled in Season 5. So I really can't comment on her power level because I kind of sucked.
Good one, Pudge.
Yeah, you know, I played her once.
She's
W
still
was good. I liked W. It was great.
She's still being played mostly in middle. Like 65% of the people who picked her for mid. Only 23% picked her for jungle.
The last time I saw her was in the houses. I think Spork picked her.
Yeah.
And what he said was that it was sucked before 6, and then suddenly it got way easier when 6 happened.
He was doing plenty of damage, that's for certain. So I don't think she has to worry about that.
So it's funny that Gragas is. I want to know how Gragas is at a 0.08% ban rate. Is that because somebody in Diamond or whatever is playing Gragas?
Well, isn't there somebody that's really high in Diamond that plays jungle Gragas?
It must be, yeah.
I think there's a guy who does that. Like, he only plays jungle Gragas.
Okay. Well,
I'm sure there's somebody in Diamond that plays a lot of every single champion.
well,
Yeah, I mean, you get people who specialize.
Well, when you talk about Gragas, I guess, it's just a barrel. It was the max barrel, the maximum slow as long as it sits there and turns red. It takes an extra second for that's what was changed. Kennen, I still think Kennen is freaking phenomenal now that you can slicing maelstrom somebody and press W as long as it's off a cooldown. That was the biggest problem for me, was getting used to keeping W off a cooldown when you slicing maelstrom, because it's very easy to, get those 2 or 3 stacks of his passive on somebody before you use the W. I said slice, I meant electrical surge, but still.
Have you got to play him at all?
I played him once or twice, and he's really, really powerful if you remember to keep W off a cooldown.
I'm still expecting any day to start seeing him a lot.
Seeing him all the time.
But
he's a hard champion to play, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he is.
He's kind of like Galio. Damn, I'm sorry. I gotta clear my throat.
excuse you.
He's a hard champion to play. One, because his passive, you have to count to 4 stacks, and you have to use that 4 stack to even
Counting
do
is
extra
hard.
damage. Well, it is hard when you're continually watching CS and stuff. You have to always remember. And, of course, you can always look down and see the number of stacks. But if you're like me, I have to continually count, keep that number in my head, because there's so much going on when you're watching lane that it's hard to keep glancing down and looking at, okay, I have 3.
Right. Well, no, I mean, that comes down into, like, don't get me wrong, you might play Kennen more than other people, but the people who've played a lot of Kennen, and that's just kind of second nature, are always going to perform better than you if they were playing that champion, just because they know, so there's no hesitation when they know they have an advantage with an ability or something like that. And that goes for any champion that people are comfortable with, which is, again, another throwback to SoloQueue talk. Pick people you're comfortable with so you don't have to overthink stuff. But yeah, she has over 50% win rate as well, so doing pretty well.
One of the problems I have with Kennen is that players will pick Kennen, and then other players will pick around the Kennen, but they won't pick properly around the Kennen, in that they pick like a Master Yi jungle because they have a Kennen top, and in reality, Kennen is not engage. Kennen is counter initiate. He works better as counter initiate, much like Galio does, because he's too easy to push away or stop to get into a team fight or
Or a follow-up engage.
Yeah, or absolutely, yeah, follow up engage.
So he's not a primary initiator, but he's a kind of a secondary, lesser initiator.
Yes, secondary or counter engage is the best way to play.
Great with people like Jarvan or Amumu or somebody who can, lock a person or 2 down and then just
zone with
let
your
Kennen
slicing
do its
maelstrom.
thing. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, he works great. He does work fairly well with pick comps, not as great as other champions, but that's because he can zone an entire team with his slicing maelstrom. So I think that players that pick Kennen, and you see a Kennen on your team, you should pick around that Kennen, and the fact that you should still pick an initiator, tanky, jungler, whatever it may be. Don't expect Kennen to initiate, because Kennen cannot initiate without flash. You'll have that one awesome team fight where you initiate everything, and then you're useless for 3 minutes as you wait for your flash cooldown.
and it's not just flash; it's like flash and Zonias.
Yeah, Zonia's, and you have to have your E up, your energy rush if it needs to be available too, and you need to have enough energy once you go. There's a lot of variables to take into account when you actually are playing Kennen, but I still think he's super strong. It needs to be played more often. So
I believe it.
And strong laner, which is huge if you're trying to win that 1v1. So
right.
Get that advantage.
Other champions in here, we're kind of doing the TLDR version of this patch. Nothing giant or big I've seen played. What about you guys? I was going to get into Farsight and Greater Stealth next.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen anything champion-wise that's really that much more surprising than what we've already seen. It kind of seems like business as usual.
Yep. No.
I've seen a lot of Katarina played lately, but that's just she's a good solo queue champ.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, let's talk about Farsight, Orb, and Greater Stealth Totem. As a top laner main, I love the new Greater Stealth Totem. I don't... In solo queue, I never felt like players warded enough anyway, and that's reinforced by the number of solo queue games I've played and looked at after the fact. So picking up that totem, the sweeper totem, or even upgrading it, wasn't that great of an investment for me. But now that I can get Greater Stealth Totem at level 9 for 250 gold, and I can have... what always feels like an infinite number of wards. I always feel like I have wards, two wards in my inventory.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm actually noticing kind of an opposite trend for how I played before the patch. I would usually keep the yellow trinket and upgrade it, but now everyone seems to be doing that. Whenever I press tab to figure out what trinket I need, everyone's got yellow. So I'm like, okay, well, we need a sweeper, so I guess I'm getting red, which usually never happened before this patch.
It's weird. I usually get sweeper, and I'm jungling, so that is typically how it goes. But now I find myself getting sweeper even earlier than usual because I notice so many, like, nobody else is getting it, so I feel like I have to make up for that by having the upgraded portion of it.
My problem is I don't feel like anybody, even though they have stealth totems or whatever it is, if they remember upgrade, I don't feel like anybody ever wards in solo queue. I played 6 games of solo queue this weekend at Plat 3. I'm playing P3s to P1s, and nobody's fucking warding still. Like, the only places they're warding are dragons and barons, and they're putting pinks in the tri-bushes outside of reds.
I've noticed a lot of warding, but I've also noticed the players that typically do the best in those games, or the teams, let's not even say players, the teams that do the best in those games, they are way, way better at getting rid of your vision. So I think that's part of it. Like, it's really easy to think that nobody's warding if people are... If the enemy team is ahead and they have your jungle warded and your team goes to ward, and because the enemy team has your jungle warded so they know where your wards are at, it's much easier for them to kill your wards, which then translates into why isn't anybody warding, because their wards are dying even though they're probably warding.
That might be what it is.
That's what I've noticed, is that whenever I'm behind, my team has a severe lack of wards.
Yep.
Because, well, I think it's a combination of things. Like you said, the other team is killing them all because they have total map control. And I think members of my team are just hesitant to buy more wards because, I'm behind. I got to save up for this item that I really need to start carrying the game.
And I will say it's a huge difference in players that are able to, just from my placements, I've seen people just really ward stuff out early so they know exactly where the other team's warding in their own jungle once a team starts falling behind or something like that. And because of that, they just deny vision. And that vision denial allows so many picks to happen. It just allows them to get even further ahead. And it's really frustrating when you're a team on the receiving end of that, because you almost feel like you're drowning and there's nothing you can do to get vision, because as soon as you go to ward anything, they just know where it's at, so they come and pick it off.
Good point. And that's probably what it is. I haven't really noticed it because I'm not picking up the sweeper and I'm not trying
you
to do it.
You should pay attention to it.
But it's because I'm stuck in top lane for 20 minutes of the game.
Well, and
that's anything.
That's a whole different monster too, because if you're so focused on that 1v1, the entire, again, it comes back to the top lane island. You're not paying attention to basically anything.
No, I'm paying attention. You know what? Honestly, as a top laner, I pay attention to my bottom lane more than any other place in the map.
For teleport games?
Yep. For teleport games. How many times
I was about to say,
do I message?
You probably pay attention to that only when your teleport's up.
More or less, I watch just to kind of get the idea of it. But I think Punch can attest to it. I ping all the time, right before I hit 6. I'm like, put a ward right here. Put a ward right here. I'm coming in. And
I do the exact same thing when I play top lane. I'm constantly, whenever my teleport's up, I'm constantly looking bot lane. I'm like, guys, if you could get a ward farther out so I can teleport behind them, that'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, just walk through and put a ward down. It's okay. I'm gonna come.
Just walk through them. Who cares? If you get the ward down, I can come help you.
Well, that's exactly it. It's like, okay, cool. Let them engage on you, and as long as you get the ward down, everything's, cool. Whatever.
Yeah, just don't die before by 3
just
seconds.
sacrifice yourself for the potential of me going in and actually making something happen, though likely you're probably going to die.
Don't
But,
do that.
Yeah, that's not good advice.
Have you seen more blue trinket usage? I saw more of it the first couple of days after the patch,
And
but I
then
think
it
people just kind of
I don't see it anymore.
petered
yeah.
off.
They're like, all right, well that was novel. That was a good
Yep.
novelty. I'm done with that. I'm going back to yellow wards now.
Cool for about 3 minutes.
I use it on Xerath. Every time I put it down, I'm like, oh, there. Okay, well, I got no more vision than I got normally because my ward just got killed.
And it does give gold when it's killed too.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
15 gold.
Is it 15? It's
Think
not
so.
5.
I have to double check.
All right,
I thought it was
we're gonna have to
15.
double check that one. That's
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much when it comes to Farsight Orb. I still think the champions we were getting before, like Xerath or the AD carry, will probably still be the ones getting it. And even then, the AD carry can definitely pick up a greater stealth totem at any point to help out with warding.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. It also probably depends on what the rest of my team has. Again, there might be a situation where I'm an AD carry and I'm picking up a sweeper because I'm the only person that's getting the sweeper.
Man, that scares the hell out of me hearing you say that, because if the
Oh,
AD
yeah.
carry is the only person with a sweeper, that is an easy way to ask for you to die.
Right. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Here, Punch. Honestly, like, just kind of give you props. You're the only AD carry that I know of that wards that I play with. And if there's people out there, you're like, I ward too. Well, sorry, I don't play with you. Just don't.
I'm sure you ward. I'm sure you're a great warder.
Yeah. No, but
You just
I
don't ward as much as I do.
Yeah. No, but if you go back into the thing, it was like we played. It was a couple weeks ago. The last time that you and I actually duo queued together, it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago. It was a week ago, and I think I dropped 40 wards as Alistar, and Punch dropped 20 as an 80 carry. An 80 carry dropped 20 wards. I'm like, what? And our Pantheon, between our Pantheon and Caitlyn, they dropped like 10. Like that time was shit.
Yeah, I never beat the support, but I'm usually second or third in ward placed. But a lot of that has to do with the yellow trinket. I'm not.
Do those yellow
It
trinkets
does count
count
to wards placed as opposed to wards bought.
But yeah, but this was before. This was before we got that yellow trinket upgrade. You know, the greater stealth totem. But then again, that was that's probably an outlier game where it was 45 minutes. We just had to keep warding and keep paying attention. But still, it's just one of those where if Punch, the AD carry, can buy wards and keep up with his item build, why aren't you doing it as any other lane?
If Punch can reach into his pockets and keep from finishing that item.
Well, he's just
up some
Mr.
wards.
Moneybags over here with his
Seriously,
Caitlyn play. Just
picking up
kicking.
all them kills.
Oh.
It's
Sorry.
real easy to ward when you're rich.
Well, the real reason is I want to ward out my jungle so I can farm safely. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I can't farm if I can't see where the enemy is.
Yeah, right?
I have to sit back at the base and
okay.
twiddle my thumbs. Like, I really wish I could kill creeps right now.
In that same vein, if you're the AD carry and you don't see anybody else on the map and your team's kind of pushing lanes or whatever, don't try and solo kill the crab, please, because you're probably gonna die.
I chased that into the river bush.
I ran into that at least 3 times in placements where an AD carry just thought they were going to kill the crab really quickly, and then they'd chase it all the way down the river, not killing it, and next thing you know, 3 people from the enemy team just killed him, and it's like, okay, dragon just spawned. That's great. You don't have your AD carry.
That crab is a trap.
It is
Like,
a trap.
He's really easy to kill if you're able to stun it somehow or knock it up. But I'm like a level 9 or 10 rumble. I'm sitting on 100 AP. I still can't fucking kill the thing in a decent amount of time.
It's as fuck, unless you have a CC.
That's exactly it. If the crab is so easy to kill if you're playing somebody like Udyr who has just an on-demand stun or an Amumu with a bandage toss or anything like that. It's a cakewalk to kill that crab as long as you have a hard CC. And then if you're playing somebody that doesn't, it feels like that crab is the Great Baron itself.
Yeah.
Just I don't know.
Well,
That
crab pro tip, something you can do if you are. If the crab makes it to the little bush, we'll say in lane, let it continue to walk all the way to the bush because it'll automatically run back toward the dragon, for example. Don't chase the crab all the way to the long bush in the lane. Stop where you're at, let it walk, and then it automatically will sprint back toward the dragon, for example. So that way you have more time to kill it, and it less chance that the enemy has to kill that Scuttlecrab. So it's hard to explain without like vision or whatever. But yeah, it's like, or without me showing you on a map.
We need nicknames for all the bushes.
We really do.
Banana bush doesn't exist anymore because it's not a banana.
Way too many bushes to come up with nicknames for them.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, somebody's going to put like a map of Summoner's Rift up and have a nickname for every single bush.
How have they not done that already? That needs to be done.
Well, we're going to call it Single Bush near Dragon. So we're going to call it
That's
Single Bush.
That's a terrible nickname.
Fuck off.
How about Lonely Island Bush?
We're going to call it Lonely Island Bush. We're going to call the bush to the right of the blue side lane in mid.
Hey.
See how this is why it sucks to talk about it? We're gonna call that Dick Bush 1, and the other bush is Log Dick Bush 2.
The little bush close to Dragon is the burning bush because the dragon lights stuff on fire.
By the way, speaking of the dragon, did you guys see the video of the one real dragon?
Shyvana.
I died laughing. If you guys haven't seen that.
Them Xerath portals. Yeah, them Xerath portals.
This shit we talked about doing, like stopping people from walking into the base by putting the Xerath portals at the entrance.
For the people who have no idea what we're talking about, there's a video on YouTube of a Shyvana that blocked the dragon from getting back into the dragon pit, and she was sitting in the dragon pit in dragon form, just chilling.
Yeah, she's the one true dragon.
Yeah, there were 3 Xerath portals covering the entrance, so the dragon couldn't get back in.
Yeah, meanwhile, the actual dragon looks like he's tweaking out on meth and just having a terrible time.
Yeah. And in the other video, what was it, where they had the Callista and the Syndra? The Syndra would W a creep, the Callista would ult the Syndra, then teleport to a ward, so you would take the creep with you. So they would take like their blue buff all the way to the enemy base, because they would get a ward all the way by the fountain, and then it would just walk back. The one was funny. They did it with the Scuttlecrab, and the Scuttlecrab walks as slowly as it normally does downriver as it's walking back, so it just kind of through the base.
You would think it would do that mad dash thing.
Nope, just took its time.
He does the mad dash and slides all the way from one to the other through walls and stuff. That'd be cool.
It just goes straight.
I wouldn't be all right. I'd just feel like I broke the game.
Other changes, are there anything else that we need to talk about patch 5.3? Anything any of you guys have seen? Anything you guys want to talk about? Because if not, I'm going to call this a 40-minute podcast and kind of let it go for this week.
I've seen a lot of Renekton top lane.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Renekton doesn't scare me.
He's been doing great early and then just completely does the Renekton thing and becomes not that useful after the 30-minute mark.
They're really trying to do away with that. That surprises me. I did have a Renekton game that I played. Every time I'm playing top lane my ranked 5s team, I only pick Renekton when the enemy team picks Riven, because Renekton hard counters Riven.
Right.
But I haven't played him in a while, so in this particular game I was kind of hesitant. I'm like, well, I'm not sure how my Renekton's going to be. It's a little rusty, but I actually ended up doing very well. And I felt like I scaled decently into the late game. It's hard to comment on that without remembering the full team roster, but I mean, yeah, he still has the same weaknesses where he's not an initiator.
Right.
His range is too limited, and eventually he doesn't really have those base stats to turn him into a late game monster tank. So eventually he's not even a great tank. So kind of like a pseudo DPS or bruiser with low range.
I gotta give DeClawd props because I was watching a SoloQueue game he was in the other day, and he was playing into a Riven as Sion, and the way he played Sion made that Riven look like that champion didn't even belong in the same lane.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just crushed it. It was pretty. I mean, I don't think they ended up winning the game, but he did more than enough to keep that Riven down. And it's just like a situation like I'm not a huge fan of Sion top, but he's so tanky and he can eat that initial burst of damage that she does when she engages and disengages with his shield. He's pretty good against her, especially when she backs off. He can just kick a minion right into her and actually do a bunch of damage as soon as her shield falls off. Becomes a little different when she has some lifesteal, but
that's like an hour discussion in and of itself. Is Sion top lane actually good? And you could cite the LCS all you want, but I think we would sit here for an hour while two of us scream at DeClawd, and then he goes, well, whatever you say, buddy, I'm making it work.
Yeah, no, there's no... I'm going to have to concede part of the point because his win rate's not terrible, but, I mean, it's above 50% again. That's pretty good. But it's just, I don't have a good track record of seeing Scions do really well in lane and then just not translate.
You know what's my problem? Here's what's funny. Like I see, so just so you guys know, the argument that you'll hear DeClawd yell about Sion top is that he can zone somebody with his Q during a team fight, and that causes its own type of. That's its own CC in and of itself is the zoning power. Plus, you're slowing people if you can actually like launch a Scuttlecrab into him, where you slow the first person he gets there. And like Punch says, you have to deal with him if he's running at you because you can't just ignore him because he does do damage over.
From a marksman perspective, he's like a Mundo. I hate him.
Yeah, he's just annoying. But the funny thing is, the way I look at it is, I don't see enough players do well with him outside of the pro scene to make me go, okay, that's a really good champion. And that's
I'm not going to say he's ban worthy. It's just one of those champions that has a higher skill cap. I mean, you could say the same with Azir. What was Azir's win rate before this patch?
It was pretty giant. It was like
pretty high.
47,
okay, well, I take that back.
Or more.
I was gonna say, I've never seen any great Azirs when he wasn't banned. Just from my perspective, I knew he was really good. I knew he had a ton of power, but he was just so hard to play that I just see people floundering with him. Like I don't know what to do with Azir.
I had a buddy I was doing with that would play Azir, and he would just crush kids, and it was like one of those situations like he would beat the hell out of people, and then after he's like, you should have banned Azir.
that kind of feels like the same situation with Sion. I mean, Sion's easy to play in lane, but how do you perform with him ideally in team fights? Because he's easily kiteable, so you have to find. I mean, and his ult is hard to use, so you have to find a way to get to those backline. Which is something like a really experienced player like DeClawd can do.
Right. You have to build a comp, like you said, you have to build a comp around Sion, because if you look at TSM versus CLG, TSM had a good comp to have Sion on because they didn't need Sion to engage. He's much like a Kennen in that he's a follow-up engage, or he's a zoning tool, or that he is a counter-initiator, whatever it may be. Because if you watch Dyrus, he didn't use his ult until 3/4 of the way through most of those team fights, and it was to disrupt people after the team fight had already
I was about to say
blown its load.
Super effective once people start diving onto an AD carry or something like that, to immediately flip the direction you're moving and ult into them and kind of peel them off a bit while doing it.
Oh, you can isolate somebody. You can, if one person is diving your team, Sion can definitely ult the rest of the team, and he's isolated half of the team. There's merit to every piece of that play,
especially if he can smack them, the person that's closest to the AD carry, so that AD carry is just ripping through them because of the armor reduction, and then he can zone the rest of the enemy team with that Q. He can turn some interesting stuff. The bigger issue is once they get past Sion and he doesn't have any of that to be able to use, he's just kind of standing there using his Q when he can, but if people are spread out around him, that's only so effective.
Well, it's kind of unfair to have this argument without DeClawd here to defend himself.
I know. I feel dirty talking about it.
Oh, he's talking in chat. DeClawd's being a good sport about it. He's like, you guys, basically the way I read what DeClawd's saying is you guys are kind of coming around to it. He's kind of sitting there rolling his hands together, going, oh, finally they hear it.
Let's give it time.
No, I don't like. Sion's fun to play, but it's
going to be bad now, but I'll play it in houses after the podcast tonight. Let's go. Top lane Sion.
Convince
play top lane Sion?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That's not the face that you said you... There you go.
I sent him a picture earlier that said, when Punch Nidalee asked if I play insert champion.
It's the Mike Ross face.
No, I love Mike Ross. Punch, speaking of, we need to play Street Fighter sometime soon.
I put that on my list of games to play so I don't suck at it when I play against you.
All right. I think that pretty much is going to wrap up 235. We were getting called out in chat earlier because they haven't talked about Lola. I think we spent 20 minutes talking about
Lola?
fucking games.
I don't remember.
Days actually sent me the first draft of the script so we can put the video together. My video guy has come back from vacation, so that is go as of this week. Plus, I've got tons of other fucking shit I'm working on in the background. Like, I haven't sent out emails. I need to send you guys more emails.
I got so much work on today because there was no emails. Please send emails close so I can do stuff.
I got a lot of work done today too. In fact, like,
it was great.
I looked down at one point. I swear my clock read 10 o'clock, and then I looked up and it was 1. So
really?
I got a ton of stuff done today.
But I text you for like 2 hours this morning.
Yeah, this morning when I was.
And then I text Jeff.
A bunch of stuff.
He called me a giant dick, and I said I love you. And
there you go.
It was great. Anyway, enough banter between all of us. It's funny. We're taking care of shit. Stuff's coming in the background. kind of like end this with some news. Hopefully you guys made it through the entire thing. Battle Arena SmackDown Edition is still a go. Signups have not been released yet. I know some of you have emailed me. I actually had one person actually donate already and said I'm in. Just give me a date. I went, oh, okay.
Well, that's beautiful.
Can't wait.
I've had a couple other people that are like, just tell me how to donate. I'm in, right? And I said, just hold off. I'm going to message you. I promise that we'll take this taken care of. So Battle Arena SmackDown Edition. What I'm trying to do, though, the reason that there's a little bit of delay is because I'm trying to get 20 Platinum and Diamonds together. I think I've had that many people message me. I'm just trying to get them all. I got to send an email out this week. If you are interested, still email me. Sometime this week, I'm going to send an email out to everybody and just try to get you all on Teamspeak to talk about it. I want to make sure this goes right the first time, and it's not just a shit show, and you guys don't get your $5 worth. I know it's only $5, but still, I want to make sure you get your money's worth.
Feedback@TrinityForcePodcast.com.
Boom! Punch is on top of it. He's also on top of closing out this podcast. Punch, take us out, guys. That was Trinity Force, episode number 235. That is the gong. That gong signals that we are playing Fangames. Stick around if you're watching live. Otherwise, we will see you all on Wednesday. Peace.
Peace. Yes.